Well, hello. Long time no read. I have some cards here that I shuffled and I spent some time studying the chart up here. And then I did, my handy dandy note work that I like to do. So, another thing that I did, which you can use large ones and you can use big ones. This is my crystal ball. I've had larger ones, but for whatever reason, this small one is just like, I don't know, it just has something about it where I'm able to, when I look into it, see some stuff. So what I did was I did a gazing thing where I sat there and I just looked into it to see what my mind would see. It's kind of like a drawing that you can see multiple different figures in, right? Except a crystal ball, it's not on camera, but I swirl it and twirl it and let it stop and move it around. And, when I start seeing something, I just kind of sit there with it for a little bit, letting my mind see whatever it sees without trying to correct it. Because that's a thing, like sometimes you can have a potential to try to make yourself see something instead of organically allowing your mind to see something. So first, before I start with the cards, I want to show you my friend Painey got me burger cards, and it's so freaking awesome. I love it. It makes me so happy. So I decided, since my first one in a long time, I'll do them with the burger cards. So what I did is I'm going to move myself. I'll wait a second. This is an old chart, but this is the one that I was looking at when I started these cards. Now, this is 4 days ago, right? But that doesn't mean that the energy has changed so much. I mean, the moon has moved 2 different houses away, but at the moment in which I shuffled these specifically and sat there gazing, that's the message from this. So today is actually the 10th, Tuesday the 10th. And it is 5:54, lol, it's about to be 5:55. So the time of this reading took place on the 6th of March at 10:02:01. So we're going to see what we get from this one. So as I was staring into my smarky, wow. And this is why you're here, for Sabrina to say words badly. And for whatever reason, I've decided, let's make it worse and let me read them at you after I wrote them. And Lord knows, I didn't double check, so sometimes my sentences might be really weird. Okay, so I guess I should show you the cards first before I get into the visions and everything like that, because that would make more sense. Because if I need to open the chart for you guys to be able to see it bigger, might be helpful. But so the energy, the overruling energy, there we go, is Canis Minor of the King of Diamonds. It's called the Big Dog, which is funny because that's a thing. So like literally within our thing, Big Dog. So it's a funny joke, so it's funny that the big dog came out, so I don't know. But anyway, so the King of Diamonds is someone who can be, financially focused, worth focused, the currency of something or the worth of something. Sometimes they can be to the point where they care more about money and achieving money, and they put a lot of effort into that. Sometimes they forget to come back into the rest of their life and into the world and participate, because they get kind of like obsessed with something. And then I got the 10 of Diamonds, the 9 of Diamonds, the 6 of Hearts, and the 4 of Spades. Okay, so the overarching energy is the King of Diamonds. And the message is the 4 burgers. Sometimes, like, for example, 4 can equal a home space, or, like, for example, it's not always the home that we live in. It can be the flesh bag that we walk in. So something to do with home. Sometimes our comfort zones. Sometimes it can be mom. Sometimes it can be roots, family patterns that we're trying to, like, navigate through, or, you know, like when we discover different things about our family, like history, for example. So I named part of this message the pilot's mandate. And so the first half of this, what I'm going to talk about, has a lot to do with what I saw in the crystal ball. So in this little tiny sphere, I saw what looked like the scene from Game of Thrones where Jon Snow is looking over the cliff at Dragonstone, like right before he has his moment with the dragon. Or it could be someone who happened to be wearing a long cloak, like long black, like jacket or something like that, standing near a cliff, just kind of looking over, and the wind is blowing, you know. It looked like a very lost in thought kind of energy. And it kind of, in a way, if you were to correlate it to the cards here, it was kind of like a mixture between the 3 of Wands, where the gentleman literally stands on the cliff looking out at the water to, you know, think about where in which and how they want to move. They're in a position of being able or thinking about doing something else, going somewhere else, even if it's an intellectual pursuit or something. They're thinking about doing something. And then you mix that with the 5 of Hearts or the 5 of Cups, which has the energy of the black cloak in it. And it has a lot to do with ridding ourselves from some sort of depression or some sort of something that we no longer wish to experience, with the change that we were craving to see. So I don't know, but that's what I saw. And then I saw what looked like a bridge that had large beams underneath it, and then it also uniquely kind of looked like a roller coaster, because the way, so I couldn't tell if it was a bridge or a roller coaster. Then it looked like, in the image of the ball, that it changed to a red barn next to a lake. So maybe this is a cliff next to a red barn that overlooks a lake or some sort of something, and there's a bridge there. But uniquely enough, London came up. And I noticed in the background it was like gray sky, kind of looks snowy, or just rainy or overcast, kind of, you know, just the rainy city kind of vibe. And then there was a weird thing where it kind of looked like a hill that had a lot of white things on it. And so one of the things, because I looked into London to see if there was, it could have been like a military graveyard or memorial, or it could have been something, but it looked like it went up a cliff or went up a hill of some sort. And that is Highgate Cemetery, which is built on an angle. I have no idea what that means. It's just a thing that came up. And then also it's Parliament Hill is a possibility. It could represent a war memorial situated on a hill, or a churchyard. Could be a local park dedicated to local soldiers. And then when I sat there for a little while, it looked like I started to see what looked like maybe like a charter boat at first, but it had very distinct colors in a very unique way. So like the bottom of the boat was white, and the bow that goes all the way around was black, and the top was red. So when I was looking that up, it came up as a rescue vessel or a pilot boat. And it's painted for visibility. And it may be near a major maritime city in London, like Thames. or specifically London and Thames. I'm not sure. So that was there. That's what I found. So then I looked into, I saw all those things. They all seemed important, but for whatever reason, I fixated on the colors of the boat because something about the order seemed weird or whatever. So something about the boat in choppy waters. So when we're looking at the symbolism in the chart, especially red is Mars. It is the red planet. You go outside, you can look up, it's literally red. It's rust red or blood red, whatever you want to call it. So Mars, in that kind of idea of being a boat, and it being a rescue boat, can sometimes mean warnings or signals of heightened emotions. A strong urge to focus on urgent matters requiring quick action, to pay attention to your environment, and to be ready to act quickly. And then we had Saturn. Saturn has kind of the energy of the black one for me, even though you could say it could be Pluto, because Pluto is technically kind of rules over the color black specifically. Also, one could say that the South Node, this one is showing up in the 5th house, sometimes the South Node can be considered literally the black hole, right? The black hole in our chart where everything just kind of gets sucked away or disappears. So that can be a thing, because, black holes have the ring of white and then the black in the center. So that was something I considered. So, and I also did notice that when we were looking at Mars is at 3 degrees and Saturn is at 2. So they're in almost a square, kind of, not quite, let's see. Yeah, they're kind of semiing. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. This is my first day. Okay, so the color black, as I have studied it, equals durability and must often make or receive aggressive contact. So the aggressive is the Mars energy, but it's talking about the bow of the boat and how it bumps into stuff all the time and it can get scratched and stuff like that, so it has to be durable. It rubs against something, or it is a buffer zone. To absorb and contain acts as a shield or emotional armor. So again, Saturn is the boundaries, it is the restrictions, sometimes considered the wall, right? So we'll think about that, but then, the idea of to absorb and to contain, South Node. And then, where am I at? This allows you to engage with a difficult or chaotic energy or event, hidden, darker motives, and the ability to dive deep. Now, the word dive deep is Pluto, and he's at 4. So we have 4, 3, 2, where's 1? Who's at 1? Who's the 1? Anyway, the energy of them being that close means that they're all kind of talking the same theme, just different parts of the chart. And then also to dive deep. We're thinking about a boat. The only boat that dives deep is a submarine, right? And Pluto rules over submarine or things deep within the earth, hidden or secret. The part of our psyche that can take a beating, quotations, the sea, and keep moving. So take a beating and keep moving. Well, I found our 1, which is Neptune. Our psyche. So Aries rules over the 12th house, which would be the house of the subconscious. So Mars ruling over that. It's interesting because the 12th house is considered what's behind us or what's in our subconscious that we're unaware of. And then when you have when you're looking at the 12th house, the 11th house now becomes the 12th house to the 12th. It just like backs up. So now the ruler of the 12th house is in the 12th house from the 12th house. So there's an energy of that possibly being the way to describe that, but we'll see as we go. Now, white, the unseen part that keeps everything afloat. That can be Neptune, the one. Clarity and purpose. All right, so purpose with the sun here. Clarity sometimes comes with Mercury, but he's in retrograde, right? Also the sun. So those two hanging out together. Because Mercury rules over our mind or intellect, the way that we think. The sun literally lights up the area in which it's talking about or should be acknowledged, as well as the moon. But in this area, it's talking about that. It can sometimes be also how our ego kind of gets in the way of things. Okay. It is clarity and purpose, the color of total reflection, theta energy. So when someone's going through a healing time in their life, to work with white light energy, like you could literally sit in front of a white light lamp with your eyes closed and just allow yourself to kind of do what I was doing with the crystal ball, but you're doing it behind your eyelids. You know, you have light behind you and you just allow your mind to reveal whatever it is. And sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it don't. You're like, what the hell does that mean, right? So, and it says, despite the rough seas you may find yourself in, the values of truth or goals remain clear and untarnished. So, in a way, that kind of makes me also think about Vesta, and she's over here in the 10th house-ish. She's considered like the virgin energy, the innocent, but the one that's like fighting for something, you know. It could be the unjaded part of our experiences. Can represent the subconscious again. Subconscious is over here. So Vesta can also represent the idea of fighting for something that we believe in, and sometimes fighting for something without knowing exactly why we believe in something so much. It's such a overwhelming energy. Can represent the subconscious in the part of the boat that is submerged to connect with our intuition or the literal subconscious. When the world feels turbulent, it is to know what is happening deep below. Again, that makes me think of a sub. And so then another weird thing happened while I was in the middle of what does all this energy mean? Why is London here? And then I named this section called the Orbit Clipper. I mean, clearly I have a dog named Orbit, but there's a specific thing named in here. A blank slate potential, even through the storm, you have the ability to reset. You are not stained by the chaos of the current environment you find yourself in. Traveling over or across, which means literally to go to a foreign country. Seems to point to a very specific kind of turbulence, and to have the armor to handle the chaos and the clarity to keep moving even when it looks and feels uncertain. Now, the chaos energy does come with Mars. And because Mars is so close to the gates and the doors, the exit door and the entrance door and the wanting too much door and being, stuck in our comfort zones door, Mars is there. And Mars is considered the scissors, the scalpel, the knife, the, samurai sword, whatever it is. But whatever it's doing, it's cutting something, right? So in this chart, Mars is in the 11th house. Now, Pisces energy is like this hopeless romantic in this area. Long hopes that we've held on to, dreams, aspirations, goals, sometimes support systems, friendships. Now, when Mars is going through there, that's kind of a hard area for us to, prune in sometimes, but there is reasons to prune. So with the energy of the King of Diamonds and the Canis Major energy, I went into the geomancy of it, which means we add up all the cards and we see what major energy they are vibrating in. So the energy of the Canis Major energy is the protector of the realm, or the guardian, which is funny because it takes me back to the Jon Snow thing, protector of the realm, right? So I don't know. Something about Jon Snow or Game of Thrones coming up. Anyway, so the numbers 10, 9, 6, 4 added to 29. So 29. First thing I like to do is see, is there any 29ers in the chart? We have, the closest thing we have is 27s. We have 2 27s. So the reason why I look for that is to see if it's talking about a specific degree of planet and experience. So because it's not talking about a specific 29 degree, which could be in your chart somewhere, right? There could be something to do with the potency of something at its greatest, because the 29th degree is like, for example, if 0 or 1 degrees is like the infantile, like baby energy of something, the 29th degree is like the educated, fully immersed into this type of energy. So, and 29 can also be an age, so equals to 11. 11 is a master number, and it goes down to 2. So the one thing 11 and 2 I wrote down was spiritual insight, to be inspired, enlightened, or made aware of a sensitivity. And I put sensitivity in parentheses because it's not always like, oh my God, you're so sensitive. Sometimes it's like to be in tune with your intuition, and to use it is to be a high sensitive, right? To use the weirdness that intimidates other people, right? And then cooperation, harmony, relationships. And then I made an arrow that went back to relationships. There's a sensitivity in relationships. And then there's a balancing of energies. So then what I did is, so we go through the geomancy, adding up the energy of what these things mean, and then we get certain planets that represent these energies. So the first thing that one of the geomancies that first comes out is the red one, passion, Mars, Rubius, Munga, all those names for the energy to describe Mars, although Munga is the more positive energy of Mars. So like, for example, if you want to have the energy to go towards something, the vitality to go towards something, the drive, the passion, the whatever it is, the strength, right? We need all those things. You want to use Munga, because Munga is like, if Mars in all his chaos could stand in a room in his highest self, his name would be Munga, right? Mars can be the immature energy, the destructive energy, the angry energy, the volatile, the one that, causes pain. So what I noticed is it's in Pisces. So when we're looking at the energy of Rubius, the red one, in the energy of Pisces, it's going to describe how the energy acts within that sign. So it is an intense and unpredictable destruction through chaos leading to transformation. And then the word subterranean, stream, came up again. And sub makes me think of a submarine. I keep going back to the submarine. So I don't know, honestly, if there's something to do with London and their boats, or their submarines or whatever it is, they're being dragged into something. But anyway, like, you know, obviously been like 20 plus countries been dragged into something, but it's specifically talking about London. And the part of the psyche or the situation that wants to burn things down and start again. Okay, so if we're talking about our hopes, dreams, aspirations, our goals, things that we had this thing that we wanted, right? We've wanted it for a while, and Mars sometimes says maybe you wanted 2 years worth of something. Or the energy of something that you wanted came underneath the energy of Mars. It required you to have Mars energy towards it. So it's part of the thing as we're looking at that says, well, in order to have it, you got to get rid of like dead weight, got to cut the fat. What is in the way in this house? So then we say from outward action, doing something, to an internal dissolution. And sometimes it can feel like we lost our compass, lost the north, but you didn't, because look, right here we have Mars and we have the North Node. There we go. Those two hanging out right there together. We have not lost our compass, but because we're in the vastness of Pisces, which makes everything seem like we're trudging through fog, or everything just seems like we're in a house of mirrors and nothing seems clear, and in looks out and out looks in, you know, it's that weird where we are. And, you know, so like you have that energy of feeling disorientation, and the ruler here is in Aries. So that can be part of the reason why is because Mars rules over this part of the face, which sometimes, you know, Mercury and Mars kind of rule over the eyes in general, because your eyes are a part of how our brain eats, which also rules over the Mercury kind of energy. But Mars rules basically from here up the head. So it's still something about this part of our head is important. Instead of a direct strike, right? Direct strike, the energy becomes porous, which means something leaks. Something is leaky. Something is not strong enough to withstand something. Something about, like, you know, the black part where it's talking about the boat, it's not strong enough to bump into something. Or it can be like our energetic field, where our energetic field is porous. It's not strong. It's not keeping our ability to be influenced positive and negatively from other people, because our shield or our boundaries aren't in place. The energy becomes porous. It is less about external violence and more about emotional volatility. And I wrote stocks. That could be a thing. If we were going to look at the energy of stocks, or like where we make speculative like risks, the South Node is there. So like, for example, if you are a Taurus, right now is probably not the best time to try to do speculative, like, you know, energies of we're going to play with our money and see where it goes. Because right now, the South Node is like, yeah, you ready to lose that? Sorry. And then I said energy leaks. Sorry about coughing. Can feel deeply frustrated by circumstances that you can't quite pin down. It can feel like a battle fought in the subconscious, not through a fist fight. It's about a burning resentment that can be someone who acts out as a sense of a spiritual or emotional necessity, often to their own detriment. So we can feel very fiery and passionate about something, you know, because Pisces is the area where we dream. We have this, you know, hope and aspiration. And it does rule over spirituality. So sometimes, like, our life purpose feels like it's a spiritual calling. A lot of the times, like, I'm here for this purpose. This is my purpose. But it's telling you, even if you feel it, Like, you are feeling this energy of, oh man, I just wish I could just tell everyone to go bleep themselves and all, you know what I mean? Like, you just like, and because it's in the house of friendships, maybe it is something to do with a friendship. You know, I would say the energy of Pisces can be so desensitized that to someone who is very hypersensitive, it feels like they don't care. So that could be a thing. Okay. So then we go and we look at, because Pisces is kind of foggy and is kind of confusing and is all those different things, it can be what's called the hidden agitation. There's likely an undercurrent or intense feelings that are not being expressed directly. Now, that's one thing about Mars and water signs, is it can be passive aggressive. It can take and it can take and it can take until it completely explodes. That can also be a thing. The fire is submerged. Again, makes me think of a nuke. Oh, wow, I said a nuke. Didn't really think that I thought it was a nuke, but apparently my mouth said that. So, or some sort of firepower, some sort of missile that's being fired from the water. I don't know. But I wrote, makes me think of subs, but whatever, I said nuke. I hope not. A sacrifice that comes at a high personal cost. It can hint to bleeding resources and also of our spirit, our life force, you know, the energy of putting too much of ourselves out there. If you are ignoring your boundaries, you might experience a sudden break or a burnout rather than an external conflict with others. It's to be too self-sacrificing, and that's another energy of Pisces, can be kind of like the martyr. You know, we sometimes for a belief or for a cause or something, we kind of martyr ourselves and we put ourselves in a position that, for example, for a friendship that may not be always, or a goal, an aspiration, I'm sorry, like we're putting too much, we're fighting towards something that actually kind of like, I guess we're losing steam for, might be the answer. And then, so that is Rubeus. And then we have Tristitia. It's very hard for me to say it. That's the energy of Saturn. So Saturn is in Mars's energy of rulership. So Mars likes to go fast. I like to call him Ricky Bobby, right? He's the gas pedal. So Saturn likes to go slow, likes to have everything planned out, methodical, precision, you know, likes, you know, sometimes it can feel like, you know, too stuck. So when Saturn goes into Aries, he's kind of considered in his detriment, which means that Saturn's not functioning at his highest and best, right? So that also explains the awareness that there may be some weak walls in that department. And it can talk about a stalled engine. And okay, so because I keep thinking about submarines, the thing that came to my mind was a submarine that loses some sort of power and it becomes like a sitting duck in the middle of the ocean. Its sonar isn't working, it can't connect to the to the top service. There is, you know, like, and you know, they have a radio and they're waiting for someone to realize that they've lost connection because they can't even tell somebody they lost connection for whatever reason. That's a thing that I don't know why, but that's a thing. And it also says the figure of the closed door, which here's the door, right? The brake on the gas the brake on the gas pedal, which means like, you know, that you're not going to go anywhere if you have your foot both on the gas and on the brake. You're just going to ruin your tires and make like a big, you know, smoke and cause the, you know, the black lines on the road. You're not going anywhere, right? And so sometimes to have Saturn be in its detriment in the 12th house is sometimes for us to be aware that maybe now is not the time to be starting something because we're tired, right? It feels like we're spinning our wheels and going nowhere fast, but we're trying, damn it. We're just trying really freaking hard. And it can be called a frustrated inertia. Having all the energy coiled to strike, only to find that the path in front of us is stifled into concrete, or solidified, stifled and solidified into concrete. So that would just be the word no. This is like, and I know that when we want something so bad, when the universe tells you no, it's kind of devastating. And that can also be frustrating because you're like, why would I have been drawn towards this thing? Why would I have put time and effort into this thing? Why would I have put money into this thing? Why would I have these people, you know, like all these things? Why would I have done that just for it to end up being nothing, right? That can be frustrating. Having the energy and to find that path has been like taken away from you, and then it's the frozen impulse. Like a frozen impulse can sometimes feel like we have fight or flight. We have all the drive, the want, the craving. We have the, I wish I could do this thing, but there's also this immense amount of fear that puts us in this like paralysis type of energy. The impulse to, the immovable object meeting the irresistible force. So Mars and Saturn, I think that's kind of a hint, like these two energies coming into a soft communication now might mean when Mars actually comes into contact with Saturn that this part is referring to. So that could be fun, which is a paradox. You feel the pressure to do something, but you're asked to be still. You ever had that thing like there's so much shit happening in the world, there's nothing, you feel helpless is a good way to say it. Like, okay, this is happening. What the hell do I do to help? Like, what could I possibly do? You know, like the energy to do something, but not knowing what to do. And instead of the energy of go, do, it's just kind of like chill. What if you have earned the right to chill? What if, Mars and Pisces means you need to take a hot bath? You need to just worry about going swimming. You need to start doing something else. Like relaxing. Instead of this like boiling water effect. Because it doesn't do anything for the situation, for anybody around you. For you, it could cause health issues. Because sometimes we can't handle that much energy, that much anger. It can manifest in self-sabotage, which is the energy of the 12th house. This is a house where sometimes we may not be aware of how prone we are to being our own saboteur. Like, for example, we can say the 12th house is the hidden enemies, and it's all over here, right? This axis is the hidden enemies, right? Sometimes the hidden enemy is you. You are the one who can cause yourself your own detriment simply from just not having any boundaries, being an overgiver, overdoer, all the things. Think about if we got the Empress card in reverse, right? She's the one who does overgive, overdo, overlove, all those things. And, you know, sometimes we put too much of our energy out when we should be letting, you know, like, for example, if Mars is saying, hey, there's something about this area that's kind of like shitty and you should probably cut them out, you know, that energy, it's like talking about people who ghost you, people who only are there for you when they need you, or people who, one of the things that it can be is people who get mad at you for you not being able to do something for them that they wanted you to do, that you didn't know that they wanted you to do, but now that they never expressed it to you, and now they're acting in a passive-aggressive way, or in a I know just how to hurt you kind of way. It's asking you, are you really losing anything? That's not love, first and foremost. If people use anything like that, you know, like some people expect money from you, presents from you, all those different things. If you weren't able to do it in the time, and they never had the balls to say anything to you, right? The passive aggressive energy, then you're in here in our 12th house, overthinking it, thinking maybe I'm the narcissist, maybe I don't know anything about love, maybe I was on drugs, delusional, or was super confused, and now I'm realizing I don't have good enough boundaries. That could be a thing. And the moment that you start something, you encounter an internal or external wall that makes you want to quit immediately. Now, I had that happen to me a couple years ago. I used to all the time. I would post videos of me singing, even ones that I hated, that I thought I was wretched at, and I was just like, you know, this is self-development, whatever, you know, if I can get over myself and put myself out there and I can be cringe in public, you know, whatever. But then it got to a point where it's like, something that I used to do for fun became painful, so I stopped doing it, right? It wasn't that I should stop doing it, it's just the way that I was doing it and needed to stop, and that's part of that energy, is that the way that you're doing it, you need to stop. It's not that you need to stop doing it, just stop doing it that way. It can point to a person who pushes themselves too hard until they reach a point where they feel like they can't do anything at all, which is it's kind of like defeatism, but that is a self-sabotaging type of energy, because now you're like, oh, well, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, I should have never tried, you know, all those different things. And then that can make you angry, tired, and deeply cynical. And the mourning of one's own lost potential, or the frustration of being able to start over as quickly as you like. So, for example, if we stop doing something, and we want to start over, but now we're starting over, and we kind of feel like I'm in that weird in between where I'm like lost. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do, right? Well, one of the things that you want to look over here is you got the vertex and the moon at 23 degrees. 23, I say this all the time, but for anybody who's watching this who has never seen me before, 23 is associated with Uranus and Mercury. It rules over our immunes, like the way that our body responds to things, like our nervous system. It can rule over anxiety and, like, you know, higher. It can, like, talk about instability emotionally wise and different things like that. It can just talk, there's turbulence, right? It also rules over the energy of Julius Caesar, who was stabbed 23 times, right? Betrayal energy. So whoever this reading is for, you experienced something that really frustrated you. And you're being kind of asked to, you know, it's under the Libra energy here. So the energy of 11 and 2, trying to balance the energy of being careful of idealizing people and self-sacrificing ourselves, because Libra energy has a tendency to be super self-sacrificing. I don't know what to choose, because if I choose something, it'll upset somebody, so I'd rather them choose whatever it is they want, and even if I don't like it, I'd rather just do that, because then it keeps everything peaceful. But that's a way of self-sabotage, right? Because this vertex means that you experienced something that was super painful, caused by another person. The vertex means a fated event caused by a person, right? In a place in which we thought it wouldn't happen. We didn't see it coming. And now it manifested itself out into our 6th house of health. So the moon being there is that whatever it was, and you could be betraying yourself. It doesn't always have to be a person. You can betray yourself. You can, know you need to stop doing something and keep doing it because you're mad at yourself, because you like it, because it's a crutch, because in some way it's helping you, in other ways it's not. So again, that could be the way that you're doing it might need to change. But the idea of that happening in the energy of Libra means that there needs to be fairness, and sometimes the fairness is to cut something away. And these two energies of like Mars and Saturn together invite you to accept the stop. Just stop. Rather than fighting it and burning yourself out. So I want you to imagine yourself in traffic. You have to stop sometimes. We have a red light. We have a stop sign. We have slow people in front of us. We have people pulling in and out in front of us. We have, going around a roundabout. Nobody knows how to drive in those, but like, stop. Whatever it is, you're allowed to stop. That doesn't mean that it's going to be a permanent thing. It just means that right now, pushing isn't going to get you anywhere. You're going to be just trying to lift a brick house by yourself. Now, then I got the energy of acquisito or acquisitito. And it means the gain. So by giving something up or stopping something, you gain something, right? To cut something away means we gain something, right? Now, it is one of the most favorable energies, the acquisito or acquisitito, and because this energy is ruled by Jupiter, right? So we're going to consider the energy of Jupiter in Cancer, which is exalted in that energy. So not only is it a good signature, but then the Jupiter that we're considering is also in its exaltation. Not what these guys are. These ones are in areas that they don't like. So it says it can equal financial or goal-oriented success. Now, okay, goals, long-term goals is what I said, but this is also a house which is called pennies from heaven, which means also sometimes like if you were to be supported by a collective in some kind of way. It can be the funneling of resources toward you. And I wrote, how fun. Not everything sucks. Hooray! The accumulation of capital and the closing of deals, right? In order to get money, sometimes we have to let go of something, right? Like, in order to have money from selling the house, we have to first sell the house, right? Sorry, I had to stop there for a second. Okay, but we're going to go back in. All right, so it's not about getting more. It's about integration. It signifies an investor, the collector, or a person who knows how to hold on to what they have earned. Okay. That has... Let me get this out of the way. Sorry. There we go. Okay. So the 11th house over here has a lot to do with that type of energy. The collector, like someone who literally likes to collect things, that like memorabilia from bands, from, could be Game of Thrones, something, an energy like that. It moves from the corporate or the transactional feel to the nurturing abundance. So that's another thing you want to think about, the nurturing over here, and then over here, the 9th house is where the Capricorn energy is, which this is talking about, which Saturn rules over. So the ninth house has a lot to do with foreign countries. It can be leaders of some sort, but it's more of like the spiritual realm, or people who use spirituality as like a thing, and then it says the things that provide the gain are often things that provide security or a firm foundation or a deeper sense of belonging or family, and it can equal domestic resources. So one of the things that can help us with the foundation is to not be intimidated about the inner monologue or the inner energies within our mind. And a thing that I listened to today, which was kind of fun to think about, is it says the thoughts inside your head aren't really inside your head. They're on a frequency and you're picking up radio stations. And then when you hear those things, you associate them with truth sometimes. And it's trying to tell you that maybe one of the frequencies we can tune into is, that I need to have firmer boundaries with myself and my impulsivity. But I do need to allow myself to use my intuition. And I also need to not be intimidated by love and by things that I find beautiful and that I think are worth my finances, but sometimes I need to keep my finances in check. And then, Nessus has a lot to do with the narcissistic tendencies that we all have. Nessus is in everybody's chart, so when people say, oh, they're narcissistic, guess what? Everybody is. Everybody's a narcissist. There. Are we happy? But we're all narcissistic in a different way, right? So this person is unconscious of their narcissistic tendencies. And so therefore, when we become conscious of our narcissistic tendencies or our ability to bend and manipulate the truth so it works in our favor, when we learn that about ourselves, then we learn how to put the no and the stop and the think about that and don't do that, don't say that, different energies like that, Working with Nessus is not everybody's favorite. A lot of people want to ignore that that's not a thing. And then Mercury. Mercury rules over our mind, specifically. So if you think about our mind eats through our eyes and our ears, right? So changing literally what you're listening to, the music, the people, the mind chatter, to put something else into our mind. And if you can say, like, the third house could be like the books that other people read or wrote, right? Other people read it and then they suggested it to you, would be a better way to say that. But Jupiter's trying to inspire that area, and sometimes it can be like something that is a little bit emotional, and somebody who doesn't do well with emotions and feeling, that's going to be a tough read. But Jupiter's saying that there is so much for you to learn in this area because you're in a new beginning in learning, right? It's not asking you to go learn so much out in the world right now. It's asking you to learn from our family of some sort in that way. And it can be also just like read something else, something completely different than what you're experiencing and what you're going through. And then it can say to expand the home, sometimes literally, which means like you could put an addition on, someone comes into the home, something. Sometimes we go buy a bigger home. Sometimes literally, and the energy that becomes a magnet for resources. Now, Pluto literally rules over magnets, right? Pluto is magnetizing. If you could use the most positive way to talk about Pluto, Pluto is the thing that everything gets pulled towards because it's deep, it's mysterious, there's something about it, it's heavy, and magnets are heavy, and it can be a magnet for resources that make you feel safe. It's less winning the lottery, which would be down here. It says this ain't the area. That ain't the area. and more like building the fortress. And right now, the building of the fortress is happening in our mind. What we think about, we bring about. The things that we say become the things in which we experience. So they say things as though they are and that they shall be. Especially because you're learning, I guess I heard a new belief system in a way. And it's a pivot point. When the work you've been doing since November, because Jupiter was retrograde, started in November, the work that we've been doing since November internally manifests outwardly. So success comes when you feel at home with yourself. And what is made is meant to be guarded, right? To guard instead of to give. That's one of the things, like sometimes, like for example, if someone did win the lottery, there are certain things where they're like, well, I owe this person, so I want to give this person this money, whatever, or this person did this for me one time, so I owe them. So like all this different stuff. Like there's a time to do that, but this one is talking about if you find yourself gifted, for example, a certain amount of money, it's not to be spent. It's meant to help you. And it's meant to be stored for winter and not to blow at the casino. I could be talking about someone literally that likes to spend money at a casino or has a compulsion of some sort where they just kind of like, I hate my money. Here, universe, take it back. And you may not even realize that you're doing that. Like it might, like the leakage can also be emotionally, because we're feeling so volatile within ourselves and frustrated and hurt, and we're going through this thing. And so sometimes we can try to self-soothe by spending too much. It says to gain peace of mind is more valuable than anything physical. The greatest gains are often the ones that allow us to rest. Like, for example, let's just say you've been busting your ass for so long. At this point, you've been working for a company. You're not quite sure if you want to do that anymore. You kind of feel like you've reached a dead end there. And then you're just like, okay, well, what do I do now? And then you get gifted a lump sum of money or some sort. Like, it's kind of telling you, hey, instead of rushing directly back to find something in panic mode in, what is it called it's kind of like where we see ourselves as broke even if we're not. I can't remember what the definition is. If you hear it, just say it. You know what I'm talking about. But sometimes we can be so like hell-bent on trying to get more and more and more and more, and it's just telling you, this is a gift. Take a break, take a nap. Literally. Like, allow yourself to rest. Don't rush into another job because you don't know what you want to do. This is telling you, like, you have time. You have a little bit of time to allow yourself to not jump into something it's going to cause you burnout. It's going to make you hate it. It's going to make you frustrated. Like, for example, a Taurus person can be stubborn and their anger can be explosive. But most of the time, they take a lot. They're just like, they like to work. They feel like they're most valuable and helpful in the world when they're working. And they're, that's important for them that they have, and like also they like to not have a lot of change. So when this person experiences this change, they don't know how to do anything else. And so this energy is going to ask you, be okay with not knowing. Be okay with go lay down and take a nap. Like, you know what I mean? It's not a small gain. You are not just receiving, you are presiding over your own resources. All right, so resources, ruled by Gemini. So Mercury is in retrograde here. So when the ruler of your second house is constantly going over and thinking about stuff, it can be an energy of, it can be kind of annoying because you kind of feel like I'm constantly going back and forth. I'm like second guessing myself all the time. But if you use the positive side of it, it's helping you like comb through your finances all the time. Like, not to obsess to the point where it's like you're stressing yourself out. But it's to like the responsibility to your money is to constantly go back over and comb over and to check over something. And there's loyalty and protection to your wealth. So guard it with your own inner watchdog. Family money or home security, which means like the money should come into the home and feed the family, or it should literally go into the security of the home, which could mean like cameras or, like fencing or, making sure tree limbs are taken down so they don't crash into the home. Different stuff like that. Taking care of the home. Like if you're gonna mull over something and try to see something, like see what's wrong that you can actually fix, specifically around home. And this gain could help you stand alone, independently. The comfort of being self-sufficient. So the career energy is the 10 of coins, right? So the energy of the careers come in, take a nap. Because you're going to have the self-sufficient energy of the 9 of diamonds. This is a card that sometimes means that you had to go through some shit to get it, though. So a lot of people may not understand, like, anything with what, the independence can be intimidating. And the comfort of being self-sufficient and to share with those that we love, right? So there we go. So the 6 of hearts also, if you feel like you owe somebody something that you really care about, that's not saying you can't, like, take care of them or whatever. You can't do them a solid now that you have the ability to do it, especially if that's something, but you want to make sure that you're not giving to the person who's being passive aggressive and mad at you for something that you had no control over at the time. Like, you can't expect people to show up for you in a way that they can't show up for you, right? That's a thing. And so it says, share with those we love, not blow on those we love. Like, you want to buy things that people need and not just be blowing money. And it's necessary to keep healthy boundaries so you can keep your success protected. Okay. Oh, sorry. This one. Sorry. And I just smelled cigarettes. Okay. Anyway. So the 4 of spades is kind of like the 4 of swords in tarot, where it's kind of like take a rest or sabbatical from the situation, sleep on it, give it time, give it space, allow yourself to rest, to back up from it. And it says to align your brilliance with the willingness to protect your peace. That's big, right? So protect your peace. Mars is the warrior, and Pisces equals over the meditation to protect our peace. And it says, the hunt has ended. Now the feast begins. So you'll have to apply that to your own situation. I would say in the next 2 weeks, we might notice the difference of Jupiter going direct. We might see that things that felt like they've been stalled out for the last 4 months, or things that weren't working, or things that we have been working through emotionally for the last 4 months, starts to see some headway. And it's either going to physically manifest in the world around us, in our, physical reality, or internally. Jupiter is kind of like a positive guru, the inspiration that we needed, so it just kind of feels like, I feel like that's the best I can say for this reading right now based on that energy. But I would definitely say, if you are feeling physically ill, specifically stomach, because the moon rules over the stomach and it's in the 6th house, it's telling you that your mind is creating the stomach issues or the emotional turbulence. And, the energy of Mercury, even though, like, for example, these energies are shoved in from this area, it's still telling you that this is how we feel it, right? And so it's going to be telling you that, like, pay attention to your body and what we're thinking about and the immediate ramifications that it happens, like, do you feel angry when you think about that thing? Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel like relationships aren't equal? Do you feel like, people are trying to hurt you more than they're trying to help you, those kind of energies, but also don't underestimate the power of our Mars energy, because Mars rules your 7th house. So you're automatically attracted to very deep type of experiences. You're either going to have really strong, intense love connections, sometimes really strong magnetic work relations, or sometimes like our, friends become enemies kind of energies, like where, it's like this person just has heat for you and they're coming at you kind of energy. You are naturally attracted to that type of energy. And that might be part of the problem, is our boundaries are being called forward to listen to at this point, to observe and see, like, am I pulling in turbulence? Am I pulling in passive aggressive people? Am I the passive aggressive person? Am I holding resentment towards people? Or do I feel like people are mad at me and there's nothing I can do about it? Because if we look here at the 1st house, even though all this energy is here, it's shoving the sensation out here. So for example, Chiron's here. Chiron is the wound. Ceres is the suffering, right? We are visibly in pain sometimes to people. It could like literally mean I'm in pain. My neck hurts. My shoulders hurt. I'm frustrated. My own stubbornness is causing my own pain and my own grief. And Uranus is here because that's where it's at according to the chart. But anyway, it has an energy of wanting to just like free you. And when it's in the 1st house, it's kind of like, be you in the most awkward way and be okay with it. Don't be so hard on yourself all the time. And whatever you're going through, you're at the cusp of shifting into something else. Uranus going through the 2nd house can sometimes be, it's kind of scary because, it's like, means there's turbulence. But what it's meant to do is it's going to, if we are pulling in the right relationships, money can come in unexpectedly in large sums from places we didn't expect and from people we didn't expect, and different things like that. And if we're emotional, it can create buying patterns in us that are unstable and can cause us to go through our own money issues because of us not being aware of what we're going through. Emotions are gross, feelings are gross, but in this case, you need to be aware of where you're hurt, how you're holding it, where you're hurt, by whom have hurt you, and how it manifests in the body, and how we can stop having unrealistic expectations in, people, ourselves, situations, perfectionism, right? So I hope that was helpful. I don't know sometimes when I do these things if I'm helping anybody. I think the most frustrating thing for me that I can say that I deal with in my wanting to quit thing is I'm doing this astrology thing and I get a lot of people who have interest in readings and none of them want to pay for it. And so sometimes it makes me want to quit because it just kind of feels like I'm just giving my life force for free a lot, and it can become frustrating. And, but it's not always going to be that way for me because, again, we have to pull in the right people. Maybe I'm marketing to the wrong people. Maybe I'm asking squirrel brains with 5 seconds attention spans to pay attention to something that is meant for someone who likes to just think and hear and, audiobook and whatever, so I'm working on my own thing. But I always try to see myself in the chart, in the reading, so I can, I need to be able to understand myself in order to be able to give a good message. And I feel like Astrology is a perfect way for you to look at your oofs and your, I really would like to change that about myself, or, be able to see like, oh, that's the energy and that makes sense. And now I understand why I always feel this way about something, or I always experience this thing. And it's once we learn how to stop coming at something in a way that becomes painful after a while, that's part of the thing of the Mars going through the North Node, is like, in order to kind of go in the direction that you want to go, you kind of got to stop doing stuff. Stop going places. Stop talking to people. Stop forcing yourself to do things that you don't want to do. Stop forcing yourself. If you have to force yourself to do something, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. If you can't stop yourself from doing something, you feel the drive, the need to do it, you got to ask yourself, is this healthy for me? And if it is healthy for me, why do I keep trying to hold myself back? Why do I keep trying to go to this wall that isn't moving, that hasn't moved? Every time I go towards it, it's not moving. The answer has been no, and it will always be no because of the way you're coming at it. Even in the movie The Labyrinth, the wall doesn't go on forever. There's always a turn, right? So be open to pivot points, I guess, is the moral of that. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Thank you guys for anybody in the universe who decided to listen to me blab at you for however long this was. And I appreciate you so much.